History. The Château was originally built as a castle by the Counts of Anjou in the 11th century. After the victory over the English by King Philip II of France, he gave the property to Guillaume de Roches. In the 15th century, the structure was rebuilt by Pierre de Brézé, a wealthy chief minister to King Charles VII of France. During the reign, 1515-47, of King Francis I, the property was acquired by René de Cossé, who was named by the king as governor of Anjou and Maine. 3. During the French Wars of Religion, the Château was made a possession in 1589 by the Protestant leader, Henry of Navarre. Severely damaged, the fortress was scheduled to be demolished. However, Charles II de Cossé sided with Henry of Navarre, who soon was crowned King of France. In gratitude, King Henry gave him the property, the noble title of Duke of Brissac, and the money to rebuild the Château in 1611. Its construction made it the tallest château in France. 4. And its facade reflects the influences of the 17th century's Baroque architecture. Through marriage, the Cossé-Brissac family also acquired the Château Montreuil-Bellay but later sold it. In August 1620, King Louis XIII and his mother, Marie de Medici, met to discuss their differences in the neutral territory of the Château de Brissac. 4. A temporary truce between the two was reached. Still, it did not last long, and the Queen Mother was eventually banished. The descendants of the first Duke of Brissac maintained the Château until 1792, when the property was ransacked during the French Revolution. It lay in waste until a restoration program began in 1844 and was carried on by subsequent Dukes of Brissac. The Château today. Today, the Château de Brissac is still owned by the Cossé-Brissac family. The property is currently managed by Charles-André de Cossé-Brissac, 14th Duke of Brissac, born in 1962, who was the elder son of François de Cossé-Brissac, 13th Duke of Brissac, 1929-2021. 1. The Château has 7 stories altogether, making it the tallest château in the Loire Valley. 4. The Château is open to the public for tours and overnight stays in its guest rooms, and the luxurious Gilded Theatre hosts the annual Val de Loire Festival. It was also used until recently as a location for the Brazilian celebrity magazine Caras. In popular culture. During the mid-1990s, the Château was prominently featured as the temporary stadium for the Iron Chef French battles of the original Japanese Iron Chef television show. 2 battles were staged at the Château de Brissac and aired in Japan on April 12, 1996. The first battle, with the theme ingredient salmon, was between Bernard Leprince and Iron Chef Japanese Kome Nakamura, and it was won by Leprince. At the time, Leprince was the chef at La Tour d'Argent in Paris. The second battle was between Pierre Gagnaire and Iron Chef French Hiroyuki Sakai, with the theme ingredient lobster, and it was won by Gagnaire. The Château was also featured in the Japanese visual novel version of Fate/Stay Night. In 1502, Charles II of Cossé, Duke of Brissac, built the Château on top of the original 11th century medieval fortress foundations. Another major rebuilding began in 1606 when the Duke planned a more prestigious home. In the end, he failed to complete his plans, as the medieval towers show. The fantastic facade you see today dates back to then. You'll notice that at the junction of the towers, it looks incomplete, wrapped like a cracked nutshell. Inside the Château de Brissac, one can find room after room of exquisite antique furniture, paintings, and tapestries dating from the 15th through the 18th centuries. Many pieces also have historic significance to France's past and the history of the family. One important historical event occurred in the 16th century. At that time, the Cossé-Brissacs were allied with the Catholic party of Guise, who were fighting the Protestants. After the death of Henry III, the next in line was Henry IV of Navarre, a Protestant. Yet, in 1594, when Henry IV came to Paris to be recognized, it was a Brissac, then the governor of Paris, who negotiated on his behalf and let him enter. Henry IV subsequently converted to Catholicism. Another historic event took place inside the Château de Brissac when Louis XIII reconciled with his mother, Marie de Médicis. The reconciliation took place in the king's bedroom. The dining room is only one of the many historic and splendid rooms open to public tours. Many rooms are hung with magnificent tapestries and have painted ceilings. The most sumptuous rooms include the king's bedroom, the Mortemart room, and de Mortemart became the Duchess of Uzes, and the room of the hunt. Memorabilia and decorations in the room of the hunt show the French aristocracy's age-old devotion to the hunt. Both the Marquis and Marquise today are avid hunters and can arrange hunting for experienced riders. The Marquis is chairman of the Angers racecourse and France's representative in the World Association of Historical Houses. He is Grand Master of the Order of St. Lazarus, an ancient order of chivalry. The Marquise has a theology degree. The Château de Brissac has many unique features. There is a private theater, built in the 19th century for a duchess who loved acting and singing. The Château Brissac, in the department of Maine-et-Loire, France, was originally built, like most of the Loire Valley Châteaux, as a fortified castle by the Counts of Anjou in the 11th century. After the victory over the English by King Philippe II of France, he gave the property to Guillaume de Roches. In the 15th century, it was rebuilt by Pierre de Brézé, a wealthy chief minister to King Charles VII. During the reign, 1515 to 1547, of King François I, the property was acquired by René de Cossé, who the king named as governor of Anjou and Maine. During the French Wars of Religion, Château Brissac was severely damaged and the fortress was scheduled to be demolished. However, Charles II de Cossé sided with Henry of Navarre, who was soon to be crowned King of France. In gratitude, King Henry gave him the property, the title Duc de Brissac, and the money to rebuild the chateau in 1611. Its construction made it the highest chateau in France, its facade reflecting the influences of that century's Baroque architecture. Through marriage, the Cossé-Brissac family also acquired the Château Montreuil-Bellay but later sold it. The descendants of the Duc de Brissac maintained the chateau until 1792 when the property was ransacked during the Revolution. It lay in waste until a restoration program began in 1844 that was carried on during the 19th century by the Duke's descendants. Today, the Château Brissac is still owned by a de Cossé family member.